Friends, if you want to see our previous videos and all videos, then click the channel name or picture below the video, then go to the video or playlist option and press the red subscribe option and press the bell icon for my latest video updates. This is Buri Critical Mahabharat book Hidimba Vad Parva section 9 chapter 139. Bisnapana said, "Not very far from where they slept in the forest, a Rakshasa named Hidimba lived on a shala tree. He was cruel, addicted to human flesh, very brave and very powerful, malformed with yellow eyes and terrible and fearful to look at. He was thirsty and hungry and was looking around when he happened to see them. With his fingers extended upwards, he scratched the dry and unkempt hair on his head and, yawning with his large mouth repeatedly, looked at them. The evil eater of human flesh, with a huge form and great strength, smelled humans and told his sister, "After a long time, I will today devour my favorite food. Anticipating the pleasure, my tongue is moist with saliva. My 8 sharp-pointed teeth are impatient because they have had nothing to bite. I will dip them into these bodies and the delicious flesh. I will attack the human throats and arteries. I will drink copious quantities of the warm flesh and foaming blood. Go and find out who are sleeping in the forest. The strong smell of humans alone pleases me. Kill those men and bring them to me. They are asleep in our territory and you need not fear. We will both eat a lot of flesh from these humans and way we like it. Quickly do what I tell you, O bull of the Bharata lineage." On hearing her brother's word, the Rakshasi quickly went to where the Pandavas were. On going there, she saw that the Pandavas and Pritha were asleep while the invincible Bhimsena was awake. On seeing Bhimsena, whose soldiers were like a shala tree and who was unrivaled on earth in his beauty, the Rakshasi was filled with desire. She thought, "This dark, mighty armed, lion shouldered, greatly radiant, conch necked, and lotus eyed man is the right husband for me. I will not obey my brother's cruel orders. A wife's love is stronger than affection for a brother. If he is killed, my brother's pleasure and mine will be satisfied for a short while. But if I do not kill him, my gratification will be eternal." She could assume any form at will. She adopted a beautiful human form and slowly come to where the mighty armed Bhimsena was, like a shy creeper adorned in divine ornaments. With a smile, she then addressed him in these words, "O bull among men, where have you come from and who are you? Who are these god-like men who are asleep here, O unblemished one? Who is this tall, dark, and delicate lady who is asleep truthfully in this forest as if it was her own home? Do you not know that this deep forest is inhabited by Rakshasas? Here dwells the evil-minded Rakshasa named Hidimba. O good-like man, I have been sent here by my brother, that evil Rakshasa, with the intention of eating your flesh. But on seeing you like one who has emerged from the wombs of the gods, I honestly tell you that I desire no one but you as my husband. O learned one who knows the Dharma, please do that which is proper for me. My mind and body are overcome by desire. I wish to make you mine. Make me yours. O mighty armed one, I will save you from the Rakshasa who eats human flesh. O unblemished one, become my husband, and we will live in the safety of the mountains. I can travel in the sky and can go where I want. With me, you will find incomparable pleasure in those places. Bhimsena replied, O Rakshasi, for the sake of what power can a man leave his mother, elder brother, and those who are younger than him? What man like me would gratify his desire while leaving his sleeping mother and brother as food as a Rakshasa? The Rakshasa replied, I will do that which pleases you. Wake them all up. I will save all of you from the desire of that man-eating Rakshasa. Bhimsena said, O Rakshasi, I will not awaken my mother and brothers who are sleeping blissfully in this forest out of fear for your evil-minded brother. O fearful one, there is no Rakshasa who can withstand my valor. O one with beautiful eyes, nor can any man, Gandharva or Rakshasa, O slender lady, go or stay as you please, or send your man-eating brother to me. Next chapter 140. Vasampayana said, on seeing her delay, Hidimba, the lord of the Rakshasas, got down from his tree and came to where the Pandavas were. His eyes were red, his arms were gigantic, his hair stood up, and he had great strength. His complexion was like that of clouds, his teeth were sharp, and his face was aflame. On seeing this, a malformed one descended. Hidimba was pretended and told Bhimsena, the evil-minded man-eater is coming and he is angry. You and your brothers do what I ask you to. O brave one, since I have the power of the Rakshasas, I can go whatever I want at will. Climb onto my hips and I will carry you through the sky. O scorcher of enemies, awake your mother and brother who are sleeping. Talking all of them, I will travel through the sky. Bhima replied, O lady with the broad hips, do not be afraid. I am certain that as long as I am here, no one can harm us. O slender waisted one, I will kill him before your eyes. I pretended one, the worst of Rakshasas, is no match for my strength. All the Rakshasas together cannot stand up to me in a fight. Look at my arms as round as the trunks of an elephant. Look at my thighs like iron clubs. Look at my broad and hard chest. O beautiful one, today you will be witness to my valor like that of Indra. O broad-hipped one, do not think that I am only a man and consider me to be weak. Hidimba replied, O tiger among men, you are like a god. I do not consider you to be weak, but I have witnessed the power this Rakshasa has unleashed on man. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, while Bhimsena was engaged in this conversion with her, the man-eating Rakshasa heard these words and was furious. He also saw Hidimba in human form, the crown of her head bedecked with flowers, and her face like the full moon. Her eyebrows, nose, eyes, and the tips of her hair were beautiful, and her nails and skin were delicate. He was adorned with all kinds of ornaments and attired in a fine and transparent dress. On seeing her in that beautiful and deluding human form, the man-eater through she was lusting for a man and became furious. O best of the Kurus, becoming very angry with his sister, the Rakshasa dilated his gigantic eyes and told her, Who is the deluded one, who comes in my way when I am hungry. O Hidimba, have you become so senseless that you are not frightened of my anger? Shame on you, you who lust after man, you do that which causes me displeasure. You bring disrepute to all the chief Rakshasas, your ancestors. Today I will kill you together with all those for whose sake you have done this great injury to me. Having addressed Hidimba in these words, the red eyed Hidimba gnashed his teeth against each other and rushed at her. With the intention of killing her, on seeing him rush at her, Bhima, the supreme wielder of all weapons, reproached him strongly, asking him to stop. Next chapter, Vishwambana said, seeing that the Rakshasa was furious with his sister, Bhimsena laughed in scorn and said, O Hidimba, why are you walking those who are sleeping peacefully? O evil one, attack me quickly, you eater of man, use your blows on me. You should not kill a woman who has done no wrong, especially since she has been wronged against. Afflicted by desire for me, this woman has no control over herself. He has been goaded by the bodiless one who has perverted her body. O evil one, you bring disrepute to your lineage. Your sister came here on your instruction, and on seeing my beauty, the timid one was afflicted by desire. O evil souled Rakshasa, the wrong was committed by Ananga. She has not erred. While I am here, you will not kill a woman. O eater of man, come to me and fight it out, one against another. Today I will singly send you to the land of Yama. O Rakshasa, your head will be squashed on the ground till it breaks, as if squashed by the foot of a powerful elephant. When I have killed you in the fight today, your body will be happily torn apart by carnivorous animals, hawks and jackals. In an instant, I will free this forest for its thorn. It has been polluted for too long a time by those who eat man. Today, your sister will see how I drag the evil one like a lion drags a large elephant that is the size of a mountain, or worst of the Rakshasas. When you have been killed by me, the men who live in this forest will roam safely in the forest without hindrance. Hidimba said, Human, what is the need for this pointless roaring and bragging? Perform the action first, then comes the bragging. Don't take long. You think yourself to be powerful and glorious. In your fight with me today, you will find out that I am stronger. Till that time, I will not harm those who are sleeping and dreaming. I shall first kill you, the stupid one who speaks such wicked words. After drinking your blood from your body, I will kill them, and then this one who has done that which brought displeasure to me. Having uttered these words, the man-eater stretched out his arms and angrily dashed towards Bhimsena, the conqueror of enemies. But the immensely powerful Bhima quickly seized his arms and laughingly flung him down. Seized the struggling demon with great force, Bhima dragged him 8 lengths away, like a lion drags a small deer. At that, the furious Rakshasa clasped the Pandava Bhimsena with great force and let out a terrible roar. Yet again, the immensely strong Bhima dragged him away, so that the sound would not awake his brothers, who were happily sleeping, clasping and dragging each other with great force. Both Bhimsena and the Rakshasa exhibited supreme strength, fighting like two enraged 60 years old elephants. They tore down large trees and ripped off the creeper that grew around, At that great noise, those bulls among men and their mother wake up and saw Hidimba standing before them. Vesnapana said, waking up, those tigers among men, together with Pritha, were astonished on seeing the divine beauty of Hidimba. Then, astonished at the richness of her beauty, Kunti looked at her and addressed her in soft, gentle, and assuring words, O beautiful one, equal of the offspring of the gods, who are you? Where have you came from? What business has brought you here? Are you the goddess of the forest or are you an Apsara? Tell me everything and also tell me why you are standing here. Hidimba replied, the great forest that you see, blue like monsoon clouds, is the habitation of a Rakshasa Hidimba and me. O noble lady, know me to be the sister of the lord of the Rakshasas. O honorable lady, my brother sent me here to kill you and your sons. I came here on the instruction of that cruel one and saw your immensely powerful son with a complexion like that of pure gold. O fortunate lady, then under the influence of Manmatha, who pervades the essence of everything, I fell under your son's spell. Therefore, I choose your immensely powerful sons to be my husband. Though I tried to control my passion, I could not. Since I was delayed, the man-eater himself come here to kill all these sons of yours, but he has been flung on the ground and dragged away by your great soul and wise son, my husband. Look at the man and the Rakshasa, both with great strength and valor, grasping each other with great force and fighting and roaring. On hearing these words, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Nakula, and the valorous Sahadeva quickly got up. They saw those two fighting, grasping, and dragging each other, desirous of victory like two immensely powerful lions. Dust rose from the earth like billowing smoke from a forest fire. Covering with the dust with earth, they were enveloped like two mountains in whirling mists. On seeing Bhima oppressed at the lands of the Rakshasa, Partha slowly said, as if in jest, O Bhima, O one with mighty arms, do not be afraid. We did not know that you were tried to fighting this terrible Rakshasa. O Partha, I am here to help you. I shall kill the Rakshasa while Nakula and Sahadeva will guard our mother. Bhima replied, watch this fight as a neutral. You don't have to take part. When I have got him in my clutches, he will not live for long. Arjuna said, O Bhima, what is the need to keep this evil Rakshasa alive for so long? O conqueror of enemies, we have to leave this place as quickly as we can. We cannot stay here longer. Before long, the east will redden. The morning dawn is about to set in. At the Rodra moment, the Rakshasas become stronger. O Bhima, be quick. Kill the terrible Rakshasa before he began to use his powers of delusion. Therefore, show the strength of your arms. Having been thus addressed by Arjuna, Bhima threw up the body of a terrible Rakshasa and whirled it around 100 times. Bhima said, your body has thrived in vain on impure flesh. Your intelligence is in vain, and you have aged in vain. Therefore, you deserve a useless death. Today, I will end your useless existence. Arjuna said, if you think that killing this Rakshasa in battle is too onerous a task, let me help you. O Brikodara, kill him quickly, otherwise let me kill him. You are tired and have almost finished the work. You deserve to rest now. On hearing these words, Bhimsena was enraged, crushing him on the ground with all his strength. He killed him the way one kills an animal. As he was thus being killed by Bhima, he let out a mighty roar that filled the entire forest like the sound of a kettle drum drenched in water. Then the strong son of Pandu held the body in his hands and tore it into two, pleasing the Pandavas with the strength of his arms. On seeing Hidimba killed, they were delighted and swiftly congratulated Bhimsena, a tiger among men and conqueror of enemies, worshipped the great soul Bhima and terrible strength. Great soul Bhima of terrible strength. Arjuna again told Vrikodara, O Lord, I think there is a city not far from this forest. O fortunate one, let us go there quickly. Before Suryodhana discover us, the scripture of enemies and tigers among men agreed, as did their mother, and left with the Rakshasi Hidimba following. Next, Bhimsena said, next chapter 143. Bhimsena said, the Rakshasas remember their enmity and use delusions, O Hidimba. Therefore, you also follow the path that your brother has taken. Yudhishthira said, O tiger among men, O Bhima, do not kill a woman even in anger. O Pandava, following the righteous path is more important than preservation of the physical body. You have killed the immensely powerful Rakshasa who came here with the intention of killing us. What can his sister do to us, even if she is angry? Vasampayana said, thereupon Hidimba respectfully saluted Kunti and Yudhishthira with joined hands and told Kunti, O honored lady, you are familiar with the pangs women suffer through Ananga. O fortunate lady, I am now suffering those pangs for Bhimsena. I have suffered the great misery waiting for the right time. But now that time has come and I expect my happiness. O fortunate lady, I have left my friends, relatives and my designated path. I have chosen your son, this tiger among men, as my husband. O illustrious lady, will the choice of a woman be rejected because of the way I speaking? O greatly fortunate lady, whether you think me stupid or whether you think that I am devoted to you, please unite me with your son, my husband. O fortunate lady, let me go as I wish, taking this godlike one. Trust me that I shall bring him back here. Whenever you think of me, I shall immediately come to you and swiftly carry these bulls among men on my shoulders over pastures and difficult terrain. Wherever you wish to go, please take pity on me and let Bhimsena make love to me. It is in accordance with what is right that one should preserve oneself from disaster and act accordingly. By whatever means, on who follows this righteous path in calamities is supreme among those who know what is right. Calamities are the greatest danger to what is right and to righteous ones. What preserved life is holy, and therefore what grants life is what is holy. The means through which this righteous and ensured can never deserve condemnation. Yudhishthira replied, O Hidimba, there is no doubt that what you have said is true. O lady with the slender waist, act in accordance with the righteous path as you have described it to be. O fortunate lady, when he has bathed, performed an ablutions and finished all rites, he will make love to you until the sun sets. O you who are swift as the mind, have you pleasure with him as you wish during the day, but you must bring Bhimsena back every night. Having taken an oath to do this, the Rakshasi Hidimba then took Bhimsena up and rose into the sky. assuming the beautiful, most beautiful of forms, adorned in every kinds of ornament, and sometimes breaking out in sweet music. She, pleasured with the Pandava on beautiful mountain peaks cared for by the gods and always frequented by animals and birds, and also in forest and mountain passes with flowering trees and creepers, in beautiful ponds adorned with lotuses and water lilies, in islands on rivers where the gravel was like lapis lazuli, and in mountain streams where the woods and the water were pure. On the shores of the ocean with jewels and gold, in beautiful cities and in forests with large shala trees, in forests sacred to the gods and the peaks of mountains, in the dwelling places of the Guhakas and the hermitage of ascetics, and along the waters of Lake Manasha, abounding in flowers and fruit in all season, assuming a beautiful form. See, pleasured with the Pandava means Bhimsena. In every such place, the one who was as swift as the mind, pleasured with Bhima. From Bhimsena, the Rakshasi then gave birth to an immensely powerful son. He had a fearful appearance with terrible eyes, a large mouth, and ears like spikes. His form was distorted, his hips were brown as copper, and his teeth were sharp. With great strength in them, he had mighty arms, possessed great energy, and was born extremely glorious and great archer. He had great speed with gigantic size, and was a conqueror of enemies, greatly skilled in the powers of delusion, through born from a man with great speed and great strength. He had nothing human in him. He surpassed all pisachas and other such creatures, not to speak of humans. O Lord of man, all through a child by human standards, he seemed to be a fully grown youth. He became a powerful and supreme hero, skilled in the use of all weapons that are known. Rakshasa women give birth on the day they conceive. They are capable of assuming any form they want, and they can adopt many different forms. The child who had grown and become a supreme archer then saluted his father and mother by touching their feet. They gave him a name. His mother said, "He is shiny like a pod," and his name became Ghatotkacha. Ghatotkacha was devoted to the Pandavas, and they always loved him. He became one of them. Knowing that the prescribed time of her stay with them was over, Hidimba made another agreement with them and went where she wanted. Ghatotkacha, the best of Rakshasas, told his father that he would come whenever he was required, and left for the north. He had been created by the great soul Maghavan as a powerful antagonist against the great soul Maharatha Karna. Next, Vishampana said, "O king, the Maharathas then went from the forest to another, killing many animals and traveling fast through the lands of Matsya, Trigarta, Panchala, and Kichaka, where they saw many beautiful woods and lakes. All of them had their hair in matted locks, and they wore barks of trees and deerskins. Those great souled ones and Kunti assumed the form of ascetics. Sometimes the Marathas had to hasten and carried their mother. Sometimes they proceeded slowly, and in the open they studied about the Brahman in the Vedas and all the Vedangas and Niti Shastra. At that time, those wise ones met their grandfather, having respectfully sold Krishna their payana. means Vedvyas. Those creatures of enemies and their mother stood before him with joined palms. Vyasa said, O bulls among the Bharata lineage, I had known in advance how Dhritarashtra's sons would not follow the righteous path and would unjustly vanish you. Having known this, I have now come for your welfare. It is now right to sorrow. Know that this will bring future happiness. There is no doubt that you and they are equal in my eyes, but men love more those who suffer from fortune or are young. Therefore, my love for you is now greater. As a result of that love, I wish to do something good for you. Listen to me. Not far from here, there is a beautiful town that is a safe place for you. Go and live there in disguise and wait for my return. After he had thus comforted the Parthas, the conquerors of enemies, Vyasa led them to Ekchakra. The Lord also comforted Kunti, O daughter, live. Your son Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, will rule righteously over all the kings on earth. Well versed in righteousness, he will conquer the earth through his virtue, aided by the might of Bhima and Arjuna. There is no doubt that he will rule. Your sons and those of Madri, all Marathas, will enjoy themselves happily in their own kingdom, conquering the entire earth. Those tigers among men will perform Rashtriya, Ashwamedha, and other sacrifices in which the aims given will be very large. They will rule over the kingdom of their father and grandfathers and ensure their friends and relatives enjoy pleasures and prosperity. Having said this, Rishi Dvaipayana took them to the house of a Brahmana and told the best of the Parthas, wait for me, I will return for you. You will find great happiness if you learn to adjust to time and place. O ruler of men, with joined hands they said, so it shall be. Lord Vyasa, the fortunate Rishi, then went away where he wanted to. Next section, Bakavat Parva.